Have you ever had that feeling like you got talked into buying something that you really didn't need?
Mm.
Like maybe you got caught up in your friend's like super enthusiastic plea to join their new business venture.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe there was this like really charismatic speaker and you found yourself nodding along even when their message was kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
These experiences, they probably feel familiar, right? But
Yeah.
did you know that they could actually be examples of like everyday hypnosis?
It's true.
That's actually what we're diving into today. It's a question that came straight from one of our listeners. Can you really be hypnotized without knowing it?
Well, the answer is a resounding yes.
Really?
And what's so interesting is we encounter these subtle forms of hypnosis almost every day.
Okay.
And here at the International Hypnosis School, we really believe that understanding these everyday trances is key to empowering yourself and achieving your goals.
Okay, so let's break down this whole everyday hypnosis thing.
Okay.
It sounds kind of like, I don't know, something out of a movie, if I'm being honest.
It's not about mind control or swinging pendulums or anything like that.
Okay.
Think about those moments when you are just highly suggestible.
Hmm.
Example of a skilled salesperson who somehow convinces you to buy like those extra pair of shoes even though you walked in for something totally different.
Yeah.
Or how about that friend who lures you into a product party and all of a sudden you're walking out with like a ton of kitchen gadgets you didn't even know you needed.
Oh, I've totally been there.
Right.
I once ended up at a Tupperware party that like just appeared out of nowhere and left with enough containers to feed a small army.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Those are classic examples of how everyday situations can kind of shift our brainwave states,
Okay.
making us more receptive to suggestion.
Hmm.
It's almost like our critical thinking takes a little break and our subconscious mind becomes more open to external influence.
Hmm.
Spiritual settings can have a similar effect. Think of a speaker whose words just seem so profound in the moment, creating that sense of awe or inspiration, even if the logic kind of fades later on.
Right, right. It's like a captivating form of storytelling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's a crucial distinction we emphasize at the International Hypnosis School. These everyday trance experiences, they're very different from therapeutic hypnosis.
Okay.
In a therapeutic setting, you are choosing to enter this relaxed state,
Right.
and you are fully aware of the process.
You're in control.
Exactly. You are in the driver's seat working with a trained professional to achieve specific goals.
So with this everyday hypnosis, it's more like we're the passengers
Yes,
and we might not even know where we're going.
exactly. And that's where it can become potentially problematic.
Oh,
It
great.
can leave us vulnerable to manipulation without us even realizing it.
Mhm.
So this is why at the International Hypnosis School, we teach our students to recognize the signs of these everyday trances and empower themselves to stay grounded. And one powerful tool is body awareness.
Body awareness. How does that come into play?
So sometimes your body picks up on manipulation before your conscious mind does. Think about that, like sinking feeling in your gut or like a tension in your shoulders during a conversation.
Hmm.
Even if the other person seems very charming and agreeable,
Right, right.
those are your body's subtle warnings, like alerting you to potential danger.
Wow.
Gozalia Davis suggests tuning into those physical sensations, like notice any feelings of discomfort, tension, nausea, or that urge to withdraw. Trust your instincts. They're often trying to tell you something important.
That's really interesting. I've definitely felt those things before,
Yeah.
but I never connected them to like hypnosis or manipulation.
That's why we believe that knowledge is power. By understanding those cues, you can become more aware of how your body responds in different situations.
Okay, that makes sense. But what can you do if you suspect you're being manipulated in the moment? Are there any practical strategies to kind of break free from that trance-like state?
Absolutely. There are several techniques we teach at the International Hypnosis School that can help you ground yourself and regain control. One of the most effective is to shift your focus inward, becoming super aware of your physical body.
So it's like hitting the pause button.
You could say that. It can be as simple as like discreetly posing yourself, touching your hair, or feeling your feet planted firmly on the ground.
Yeah.
These physical sensations, they act like anchors, bringing your attention back to the present moment and out of that trance-like state.
I like that. That's a subtle way to shift your focus without like drawing attention.
Right. Another technique is to do a quick mental check-in, like remind yourself who you are, where you are, and what your goals are in that specific situation. Asking yourself, what am I doing here and what do I really want? can clarify your intentions and help you regain a sense of agency.
It's like taking control back of the story.
Exactly. And you can also observe your surroundings, like name objects that you see, to further ground yourself in the present, you know. For example, you might silently say to yourself, I see a blue lamp, a wooden desk, a potted plant, and 3 people.
Okay, these are all great tips. I'm already feeling a little more empowered knowing about them.
And that's exactly what we want for our students. Remember, awareness is the first step towards breaking free from unwanted influence.
This has been really eye-opening. We've learned so much already, and it feels like we've only just scratched the surface.
Mm.
What else can we do to, identify those everyday hypnosis moments?
Well, one of the most effective ways to protect yourself is to understand the specific tactics that manipulators often use. We'll explore some common techniques right after this. So now that you have a few tools to ground yourself, let's dive into those manipulation tactics. One that Gozalia Davis really highlights is sensory overload.
Okay.
Picture this. You walk into a super busy car dealership. Salespeople are everywhere. Everyone's talking. You're bombarded with all these flashy cars and deals.
Yeah.
It's like your senses are on overdrive.
I actually hate car shopping for that exact reason.
Mm.
It's so overwhelming. I can see how you would be vulnerable in that kind of situation.
Right, and that's exactly the point. That feeling of overstimulation, it can actually hinder your rational mind, making you much more susceptible to suggestion. Your brain is just trying to process so much information that your critical thinking, it kind of takes a back seat, leaving you open to that external influence.
So it's not just about the pushy salesperson. It's about the entire environment that's working to create this overwhelm.
Exactly. And it's not limited to car dealerships. Think about I don't know, those persistent street vendors that seem to appear out of nowhere,
Yeah.
or those times when you felt pressured to make a quick decision in a chaotic situation.
Yeah.
Creating sensory overload, that's a very common way to just short circuit your ability to think clearly and critically.
Wow, I'm starting to see these tactics everywhere now. It's a little unsettling, to be honest.
It is, it is. And here's another tactic that Gozalia Davis talks about, the use of language. She points out that people can be lulled into a trance-like state just by listening to someone speak,
Mm-hmm.
even if they don't fully grasp, the meaning of the words.
Right.
This is really prevalent in spiritual settings or with, charismatic speakers who use a lot of jargon or vague terms or just a lot of feel-good phrases.
I've definitely experienced that. I've been to events where this speaker was so captivating. I felt completely absorbed in the moment, even if I couldn't tell you exactly what they were saying.
That's such a common reaction, and
Yeah.
it's not always about malicious intent. Some speakers might unknowingly use hypnotic language patterns that trigger a trance response in their audience. And in our training at the International Hypnosis School, we teach students about these patterns and how to use them ethically and responsibly, of course.
So it's not just the words, but how they're delivered and the overall context.
Absolutely. The tone of voice, the pacing, the pauses, the repetition, all these things contribute to that hypnotic effect. And what's interesting is these same techniques can be used for both positive and negative purposes.
That raises an important question. How do we differentiate between someone using these techniques ethically versus someone trying to manipulate us?
That's such a great question, and one that we spent a lot of time discussing at the International Hypnosis School. One red flag is the use of spiritual cliches or overly vague language that lacks concrete meaning. If every sentence sounds profound, but you can't really grasp the substance,
Yeah.
that's a sign to pay closer attention.
So it's about being discerning and not letting your emotions get in the way of your judgment.
Precisely. Another crucial factor is the speaker's overall intention. Are they genuinely trying to help you, or are they trying to sell you something, control you, get you to join their cause?
Those are great questions to ask yourself. It's almost like we need to develop a built-in hypnosis detector.
You could say that.
Yeah.
But remember, it's not about becoming paranoid or distrusting everyone you meet. It's about cultivating awareness and using your critical thinking skills to navigate the world with more confidence and discernment.
Okay, this is all incredibly valuable information. Now, I know we briefly talked about cult-like settings earlier. Could you elaborate a little bit on how those environments can be particularly conducive to manipulation?
Of course. Cult-like settings, they're often meticulously designed to actually induce those trance states
Wow.
and make people more susceptible to suggestion. So think about a large event with a really charismatic speaker Captivating music, flashing lights, the enthusiastic crowd, people clapping, cheering, hugging each other. It's a very highly charged and emotional atmosphere.
Yeah, I can see how that would be very intoxicating and make you feel like you belong.
Exactly, and that's part of the strategy. These environments often combine sensory stimulation with factors like fatigue, sleep deprivation, even hunger to further lower people's resistance
Okay.
and make them more suggestible.
So it's like they're creating the perfect conditions to bypass critical thinking and go straight to your subconscious.
You got it. And in these heightened emotional states, people are more likely to let go of their usual skepticism and just go along with the crowd, even if it's against their own values or beliefs.
This is starting to sound like a movie.
Yeah.
It's amazing how easily we can be influenced by our surroundings.
It is. And while cult-like settings might be the most extreme example, it's important to remember that these principles can be applied in, more subtle ways in everyday life.
Right.
Think about those like high-energy sales pitches,
Right.
political rallies, even some religious gatherings.
This is all so fascinating. Now that we've kind of uncovered all these tactics, what can we do to protect ourselves, especially in situations we can't avoid?
Well, thankfully, those grounding techniques we discussed earlier, they can be really effective even in challenging environments. Just focusing on your breath, becoming aware of your body, reminding yourself of your goals, those can really help you stay centered and make conscious choices, even when there's, a lot of external pressure.
That's reassuring. It's like having that mental toolkit to help you navigate those tricky situations.
Exactly. And another important strategy is to just be aware of your own vulnerabilities.
Okay.
Like, are you tired? Are you hungry? Are you stressed? Are you surrounded by people who are easily influenced? Being mindful of those factors can help you make better decisions.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like we've just barely scratched the surface of this whole everyday hypnosis thing.
We have. And that's why we always encourage everyone to keep learning and exploring.
Right.
At the International Hypnosis School, we offer a wide range of resources, including online courses, live workshops, and certification programs for those who want to go deeper into the world of hypnosis.
It's amazing to think that these same principles that are used for manipulation can also be used for personal growth and empowerment.
Absolutely. Hypnosis, when it's used ethically and responsibly, is such a powerful tool for positive change.
Right.
It can help people overcome fears, improve their habits, boost their confidence, and achieve their goals.
So it's not about demonizing hypnosis. It's more about understanding how it can be used, both the good and the bad.
Precisely. And that's what we at the International Hypnosis School are so passionate about.
Yeah.
We want to demystify hypnosis, empower people with knowledge, and help them unlock their full potential.
I love that. Well, if any of our listeners are intrigued by what they've heard today and want to learn more about hypnosis, I encourage you to check out the International Hypnosis School website. You'll find a ton of information there about our programs and resources.
And remember, hypnosis is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
Use it wisely, use it ethically, and use it to create the life you desire.
I love that. That's a great way to wrap things up. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of everyday hypnosis.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've learned some valuable insights today and feel empowered to navigate the world with a little more awareness and discernment. We'll be back next week with another deep dive into the power of the mind. Until then, stay curious, stay empowered, and keep exploring the incredible potential that lies within you. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more fascinating explorations into the world of hypnosis.